What's going on, guys? Let me go ahead and start this off by, yes, I am super sleepy. I've been up for several hours past what I should have been up. I have been running around town, been trying to get some stuff together, and I've been running off of this cold brew coffee, which is super delicious. I can't stop drinking it. But I'm here with potentially bad news, stuff that actually hurts my feelings a lot, and I've been waiting to try to catch up on this. Now, I decided to go ahead and look into it because I've been on the fence whether or not I was going to update Netflix and actually, reinstate it. I was looking at the Avatar Last Airbender live action. After I do know that the original creators left, I thought maybe it was just not something that big. Well, while technically not big, it may be a problem. I would like to go ahead and start this off with, I think it's kind of stupid that they're making changes to characters. While I'm going to leave it up to when it's actually out to see what the problem might be. I might actually even pay for Netflix just to watch it. But here's the problem. Since they left, a lot of people were wanting to know what they made changes about. And come to find out, they made a lot of changes. Some of it they said is involved with Katara. Now, sexism. Pretty much that's the prime example would be sexism. Now, any fan knows there was sexism in it, but it was used as a comedic thing and, to show that, there was real issues in their world. Their actions that are changing things. That was the whole point. It was a negative thing, so they were trying to make it positive. Which is used, for instance, the North Pole. If you don't know what I'm talking about, in the North Pole, one of the Grand Masters of Water, who is supposed to teach, the Avatar, was also going to teach Katara. Now, he did not know who Katara was. He just knew that Aang had a friend that needed to learn waterbending too. So he did not know it was going to be a woman. The whole big ordeal was the fact that he does not teach women how to fight. They don't learn battle forms of, waterbending. They were supposed to be healers. That's literally all their whole purpose was in the North Pole. That right there was supposed to show how their influence was. That he came in and he was able to change pretty much, how they ran things. Now, that's a little bit of character development, which was a really cool thing to see when I was a kid, because that was just book one. Book one came out when I was like probably 13 years old. It was really interesting to see characters around my age and actually develop with them. And that's not even the end of it. So they decided to take away a lot of the sexism with Sokka. Now, if you ever notice, it was cringy but funny. Like, that's how it was to me. All his sexism and all the jokes he made towards being, a woman being a woman was the funny part about it. It made him, anti-charismatic, I guess. So every time something bad happened to him, you laugh. Now, when they got to Kyoshi Island, that's where things start to change, which is very early on in the show. It's still a part of book one, very early. I can't remember if it was, I think, just episode 2 or 3. What happens is a bunch of highly skilled warriors actually take them down secretly, quick, and then they're going to interrogate him. Well, the next thing you know, while they're all tied up, he's asking for where's the men that took us, which kind of alludes to the fact he's sexist. He also comments that his sister is, a carer and supposed to be, doing all the cooking and the cleaning and the knitting and stuff like that because she's actually working on his pants. But the whole premise is he is a little bit sexist, and that's just because he was hiding insecurities and all this other stuff because he had to be this big man because he was like the only man actually on the island, if you want to call him a man. He was only 14. So that's another thing. He was young and immature. A lot of immature teenagers are going to act like that. That's exactly how it is. And that's the whole point of the show. Everybody had characteristics that they had to fix on themselves. So that being said, he finally admits and he dresses up as they did, which was in, the warrior's garb, which was dress and makeup and using fans. And it actually helped him out. And then further on in the show, he stops being so thick-headed and you start realizing more and more that he's growing as a character. He starts learning other techniques from other people, and he actually is able to grow as a warrior, and that's the whole point of his character arc, is what he grows up to. Now, if you watch the Legend of Korra, it shows that he did become something of a, predominant figure, which is really cool to see from there to there. Now, I think we're supposed to be getting another animated show that's actually going to be in between those. It's going to be really cool. I'm wondering what all is going to actually change, because if they change a lot about Aang, that's going to be a bigger issue, because that's what I liked. Aang was a favorite character of mine, actually, because it started off as somebody that was scared, but never tried to show it. He always tried to smile, and he always tried to be, assertive in a polite manner. He used a lot of goofiness to try to hide his fear. And that's what I liked about it. That was the whole thing. He always wanted to redirect things. He always wanted to work around everything. And you start seeing a lot more reinforcement behind what he did, especially when he starts doing earthbending, which is a tremendous change in his character. Once Toph has to show him a bunch of stuff, how to be an earthbender, essentially, because it's like his opposite. So airbenders are always trying to redirect and go around. Earthbenders have to stay put, and you cannot move them. That's literally the whole premise. Each element had its own task, its own style, and him being an avatar, he had to learn all of it. Now, that's the cool part. You see this young boy that doesn't know anything. He is a master airbender, but he doesn't know all these other, his basically his job. He doesn't know what he's supposed to do. And the crazy part about it, he learns all this in a year. So I'm hoping they don't change too much of it. Now, I'm also going to go ahead and state this. There's a few things that popped up that I actually saw that people were talking about that made a lot of sense. This is just coming from a website, Dexordo. I was just looking it up to see what people were saying about it. And one of the premises they said is, I feel like we also took out the element of how sexist Sokka was. I feel like there was a lot of moments in the original show that were iffy, which I don't see. It was pretty family friendly. Yeah, totally. There are things that we were redirected just because it might play a little differently in live action. Now, I don't know what that could, end up being. I'm hoping if they do it well enough, they could probably get away with it. But here's the bigger issue. The creators left after 2 years of working on this. And a lot of people were saying, yeah, that's probably a bad omen. Because the whole point of this show was the fact they were going to be on board. And then they just stopped. Here's something that kind of reinforces what I was saying. Another stated that sexism comprises less than 1% of Sokka's screen time, character arc, everything adding. The fact that Sokka turns on a dime without a single look back in the course of a day shows that Sokka didn't have deep-seated real sexist beliefs. He was just a traumatized child, spouting the misguided, misinformed observations that he'd been given throughout his childhood. It just kind of proves the point that it was a character development issue. It showed that there was more deep-rooted things. And I love that about this. This is a children's show. Well, a teenager show, I guess. But it was on Nickelodeon, which I also have to cover the fact that there was a feet-loving pervert on there. So let's go ahead and get that out the way, allegedly. Now, I'm hoping they just get the choreography right. A lot of the bending will be better. If it's shot well, it doesn't have too many jump cuts. It'll probably be pretty good. And hopefully it's cohesive. That's going to be the biggest issue. But this is a bad omen. This does seem like it might be a problem. But I would like to know what you think. Please like, share, leave a comment down below telling me what you think about this, or if you think it's going to bomb, or if it's going to be great. If you don't think this is going to be a problem, tell me if you're going to watch it if you ain't. That'd be cool to know. That's about all I got to say. Y'all have a good one.